It is time. It's time to stop hiding. It's time to stand up. It's time for Christians to come together, to share their testimonies, to inspire hope, and to join their brothers and sisters as we answer the call. Folks, it is time now, more than ever, to wake up the lions. And we have an absolute lioness with us today who just has a wonderful message and a great way of getting that message out there. I cannot wait to bring this lady to you. She's an award-winning singer and songwriter and recording artist. She's also a wife, a mom, a worship leader, and a lover of Jesus. Folks, please welcome to the show, Brigitte Donoho. Brigitte, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It really is. I cannot wait to hear all about this stuff. I want to hear about your music and everything that you're doing. Tell everybody, though, a little bit about who you are, and what kind of impact God's had on your life. Start wherever you want.
Well, I was saved for I feel like I was in the pew from very, very young, grew up in church and fell away from that when I was a teenager. Wanted nothing to do with God and the Lord. I saw a lot of hypocrisy within my denomination that I was affiliated with at the time and just really pushed away from it. And I remember I was dragged to a youth convention when I was 16. And when I say dragged, I mean literally like my mom was a praying woman. She's like, you're going, like no ifs, ands, or buts. And I remember being so impacted by one of the skits that they had going on. It was a skit of, if the Lord were to come back today, right now, where would you be? And it was so impactful to me because I knew that I wasn't living for the Lord. I wasn't living right. And I surrendered my life completely to him at that convention. And so I believe that God can really work through the arts. And so it's such a passion of mine because I was saved. I recommitted my life to the Lord through a play, basically. And I've been walking with him ever since, running with him, and just falling in love with him more and more every day. My husband and I, we homeschool our two boys, and they go to school part time as well at our local Christian school. So we got our hands full with sports and all this. And we also run our own businesses, and I lead worship at my home church. And then we also tour quite a bit and write songs. And so we try to do everything with excellence. And that's a little bit about me.
Wow. I mean, your schedule's got to be just packed full.
It is. I thank God for Skylight calendar where it alerts me when like a few minutes before anything comes up. So having good systems in place really helps.
There you go. There you go. I'm pretty sure God had a hand in those too. He knows what we need, so He gives
Yes.
us
Yep.
the tools
He does.
in some way.
He
So.
sure does.
Okay, we always seem to have some kind of a story like that where, we get dragged to the place that then changes our whole life. Um,
Right.
Very often, do you feel like looking back that maybe that was some kind of spiritual warfare trying to keep you out of that?
Oh yeah. So I feel like I've had spiritual warfare like pretty much my whole life. So I never denied the Lord. I always knew that God was real because what I had experienced as far as warfare, I had seen things when I was just really small. I remember calling my mom into my room because my bed was shaking and like her sitting on the bed with me and the bed being lifted off the ground. That type of spiritual warfare where we were
Wow.
seeing demonic activity in our home. We had to do a house purging, anoint our home with oil and all the thing. And I saw that from when I was very young. And so it was throughout the years just demonic attacks. And so when I did leave the faith, I never I never questioned whether God was real. It was, did I want to live for him? If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I've experienced spiritual warfare throughout the years, and I really do believe that it was during that time, it was absolutely spiritual warfare because it's like, who are you going to choose? Who are you going to serve? Who is your master? And there was so many different voices that were pulling at me. And I believe, we're always in a spiritual battle, like
Yeah.
even now, and you have to consciously choose who are you going to serve? Like who are you going to follow? Are we going to follow the things of this world? Or are we going to follow the Lord?
Wow. I rarely, this is what's funny about episodes like this. I rarely get into spiritual warfare this early. but that just seemed like an absolute example of it. So I said, let's just go there right now, see where we go.
Mm.
And even in our pre-interview, earlier before the show started, I had no idea that you had dealt with that as a child.
Yeah,
That's very, very heavy. And that's probably why I got led to ask that question.
right.
But that happened when you were younger. Just if you don't mind me asking, like for how long of a period? I mean, what must that have
Um,
been like? That's got to be surreal.
yeah, so we were living in New Jersey at the time, and it was, I want to say from the age of 7 onward till about, I mean, I had it in my teenage years as well, where we would have these demonic encounters. And I can remember when I was babysitting, this is one that's really, really like etched into my brain. If I ever want to go and say, oh, is God real or not? Yeah, he's real because I've seen too much to go and ever deny him. And I was with my friend, and we were in about, I would say we were freshmen. It was my freshman year of high school. And we were babysitting, and it was Halloween night. We were babysitting for this couple, this family, and it was me and another girl. And I remember we were watching a horror movie. So there's certain like I know better, of course, but
Right.
there's certain doors that you can open, right, in the spirit realm, and you're basically just inviting that in. And I remember sitting down and I was watching it, and when I was sitting there, we saw like the blinds behind us open and close, and there's nobody home. Like it was a baby. It was a baby in the crib that we were babysitting. And so it was just me and my friend. And she's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I know what's going on. And we saw like the garage doors, both of them open and shut at the same time. And I remember, even though I wasn't living for the Lord, I knew to call on the name of Jesus. And when I did, peace, all of it stopped. But that still wasn't enough for me to surrender to the Lord. It took a little bit longer. It took.
That's my question.
I
I got to
still
be
had.
honest with you.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here going, how in the world? But
yeah.
go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just really stubborn, and so I would have encounters like that, and it still wasn't enough to go and bring me back, but that conference, it really did. And I feel like when I went to that conference, when I rededicated my life to the Lord, it felt like almost something like left me. You know what I'm saying? Like that oppression that I had been feeling, it felt like all of that heaviness just lifted off my shoulders. And when I left that day, it was like the sky was brighter. The clouds were, do you know what I'm saying? Like colors were more vivid. Everything felt different.
Wow. Was it like you had shed something that you'd been carrying?
Yeah, yeah, I think it was definitely demonic oppression,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
I felt that heaviness. And when we used to use the term pray through when we were younger, but it's just really crying. I really cried out to the Lord, and I said, I need you, like I need your help. I surrender. And when I surrendered, I felt that lift off of me.
My goodness. All right. I mean, what a thing to live through and have to come through. That was going through my head the whole time you're telling that story. I'm like, no, wait a minute. That's not enough to get you to
No,
go, all right,
I was stubborn.
I'm coming. I got you.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
But oh my goodness, you really were stubborn. Okay. Good for you though, because now, when you make that decision, then you know that it's 100% legitimate and you know
Right.
that it's authentic because, you
Yes.
fought it and
Right.
you've seen it. So, really and truly good for you. That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Now the arts were something that you were involved in prior to giving yourself over, um, and then
So
continued clearly.
yeah, I feel like I came out of the womb singing. I was always very drawn to it. I listened to a lot of Whitney and Brandy and just, the great singers of the time when I was
Right.
growing up. And we had some amazing singers in the 90s and when I was a kid, and I was always very musical. And I didn't really know to pursue it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just, oh, I'd love to sing one day, but I didn't know the steps that would entail. I didn't really, and I played guitar, but I put it away when I was going through college and all that stuff when you're settling into being newly married. We got married very young. My husband and I did right out of high school. We were high school sweethearts. So I just kind of put it on the back burner, and then we had this college and career night at my previous church, and they needed a worship leader. And so I'm like, well, I play guitar, and I don't know if somebody was sick for the night or what had happened. I can't remember, but they didn't show up. And so I was basically thrown up there. And my husband's like, I know you can sing, obviously, like you sang to me at our wedding, but like I had no idea, like you played guitar and all this stuff. And so he really was the wind beneath my wings to push me to really pursue music and ministry music. He was like, this is what you're supposed to do. This is your calling. Let's figure out the steps. And you really need somebody like that in your corner. So my husband's he's so wonderful.
Wow. That's great too. Is he an artist too? Just the way you were talking.
He's not. He's a sound tech. So
Oh, okay.
he's got a great ear, and he's very musical in that way.
Yeah, he's on the technical side of it. Gotcha. All right,
Yep.
makes sense. Okay.
And I'm not
Um,
techy, so it's wonderful.
Even better.
Yep.
That's right. You sang at your wedding?
I did. Yeah.
You got to
I
tell us about
sang
that real quick.
I sang a Jackie Velasquez song, and it was called "Imagine Me Without You," and it's a song to the Lord, but I kind of changed the lyrics a little bit and sang it to my husband, and he didn't know it, so it was a really special moment because all of a sudden I grabbed the microphone from behind and sang to him, and I also sang to my dad at our wedding as well. So it was a wonderful, wonderful time.
Wow. Okay, wow. Now I'm going to tear up because you're killing me right now. Yeah, all three of my kids got married in the last year, and my daughter
Oh,
was among them.
congratulations. That's
So
wonderful.
yeah, okay, that's why you just got me right here with the dad thing. But you sang to your dad.
I did. My dad passed away almost 10 years ago. And so it was looking back on it, even having the footage of it, like, oh gosh, I'm gonna get emotional. But it was like just such a precious memory. And I can't remember what's the name of the song. It was a Natalie Grant song, and it was I'll Always Be Your Baby by Natalie
Oh,
Grant. And so I sang that. And then my dad had written a poem, and I hadn't known about the poem. So my mom was kind of like the in-betweener between us, if that makes sense. I'm like, I
yeah.
think I want to sing a song to dad. And she said, oh, Bridgie, that'd be wonderful. Just, we're not going to tell him, okay? And so we had this little space carved out in the wedding to make that happen. And then she had been working behind the scenes with him, and he's like, I wrote a poem for Bridgie, but I don't know if it's appropriate to do. She goes, oh no, I'm gonna put it right in here. She's not gonna know about it. And so I sang to him, and then he did the poem, and I'm like, so it was such a wonderful memory that I can look back on, and that my kids can look back, because my kids were very, very young when my dad passed. And so they remember him. Well, my youngest doesn't remember him at all because he was like a baby,
Yeah.
but they can see these memories, and they can see just the love that was shared. So it's really special.
So amazing. Thanks for sharing that. That
Absolutely.
wow. As a dad, that's a killer right there. That's something. And I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Yeah, he
For sure.
he was an amazing man, and I that's another story. He was an atheist all through my childhood, and then he got saved on my birthday.
Oh my
So my
goodness.
16th birthday, and I had to come back to the Lord. And then he received Christ when I was rededicating my life to the Lord. So that was very special. So knowing that I get to see him in heaven one day is everything.
Oh, you're killing me. I'm not going to make it through this interview right now. Oh
I
my
wasn't
goodness.
expecting
Oh
but,
my gosh, what a story. Bridget, that's just amazing. You could do a podcast on any one of those pieces and talk about it the entire time. Okay, so you have a song coming out. We got to change the subject. We got to get off that. You have a you have a song coming out. You obviously are an award-winning singer and songwriter and so on. So this is what you do, and it's a single that you put out. Tell me about it.
yeah, it's a country song, and I just really felt like I wanted to do this for my husband. I wrote it for him a few years back, and he was really just encouraging me to put it out there. He's like, this is our love story. This is, everything. I believe that everything is worship to the Lord. And so when we look at back on our lives, it's not just congregational songs, but it's songs about family, about love, about dedication, about commitment. Everything is worship unto the Lord. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I'm like, I had to do it, And so just to have a song that talks about being in love with your best friend that you were kids with, and then you grow up together and you're still in love and you're still able to look back and say, hey, look back over the years and look how far we've come.
Wow.
So it's
Yeah,
called Best
love it.
of Friends, and it just came out for Valentine's Day.
Nice. Where do people find this? Just give it to me right now. Where do people find this song?
So it's everywhere online. It's on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, anywhere that you listen to and stream and download music, it's there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm going to have to go download this song as soon as we hang up. So, all right, that is amazing. Now, this is what you do for a living.
Yes.
Okay, and that has to be a little bit interesting. How do you get into being an independent, Christian Western folk type songwriter? And I hope I'm characterizing that correctly. I
Oh
think
no,
I'm
you're
using
right.
some of your own words.
Yeah, yeah. So I have so many different like musical expressions, and I feel like a lot of the time they want you to niche down and say you only do one certain thing, but being independent, I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
Good for you.
Because because I love all different. I love music. I believe that music is a form of therapy, and that God really uses music. And as a minstrel, like I want to do what what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing, like what God lays on my heart to go and put out there. So being independent, I really am able to go and say, my yes is my yes, and my no is my no. And we really do it a lot as a family. Like my kids are used to going and helping set up a merch table, and they're used to doing prayer time. They're used to all the things. So it's really beautiful because I get to bring my family along with me,
That's
and
fantastic.
yeah, and saying, I mean, we don't overdo it, and so I don't ever want them to look back and say, oh, be resentful and say, mom took this time away from us and did this. And so we talk about it as a family, and we really say, like, should we go here? Should we go there? This door is opened up. What do you guys think? And so it's never a one person is calling the shots. Like it's always a collective. And, my family is my first ministry that the Lord has given to me. So it's
Right.
very important to go and touch base and say, is this serving what God wants for us? Is this serving others? Is this leading people closer to the Lord? And if it's not, then we'll just say no and be done with that.
That's great. That's great. Well, I mean, it's so that on one hand, it sounds like that would be very tough to get into. On the other hand, it sounds like it's great for trying to homeschool, and have a little bit of flexibility in your schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, but yet we don't. 'Cause they go to school part-time as well. So the way that we do it, it's a hybrid program. So they go every day to our local Christian school. So they have classes and field trips and all the things. So they're very involved, but they do their core stuff here at home. And so
Hmm. Okay, that's interesting. I've never heard of a
yeah,
hybrid program. I've heard of one or the other. I know there's a lot of homeschooling that's going on more and more every day.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I didn't realize it was a hybrid type of scenario. Now, is that just with a Christian school? Was that the deal?
Yes. Yeah. They have a great homeschool partnership. And so we go pretty much every day. Like they have classes every day, and then sports, and like golf season's about to just got the email today that golf season's picking up next week. I thought I had a little bit of a reprieve in between sports, but I do not. So
Great. There's no such thing as a reprieve between sports. I know.
there's not.
All three of my kids, I know. As soon as the last one was done and graduated, my wife and I stopped and looked at each other and said, "Now what do we do?"
What do we
Because
do?
we had
Right.
free time. We didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, there's no sport tomorrow. There's no practice.
Right.
What's going on?
Right.
That's fantastic, though. That's fantastic. Is this the type of business that you end up having to sort of break into, or because you're independent, can you just sort of start doing it, but then you have to kind of like make it and gain popularity and that type of thing?
Uh, I guess it depends on what the definition of make it is. So this is something that I've asked myself so much over the years, because you have like that, oh, I want to get a record deal, or I want to do this and that. And I did when I first started out, like I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and do this and this and this. And then when the doors opened for that, I'm like, oh no, that's actually not a good deal. That's not something that I really want to do. And so you do have to go and you have to be your own marketer. You have to do everything DIY. I do have a few different helpers, if that makes sense, or different things that I use. But yeah, you have to be on top of it and you have to be diligent and you have to go and I look at it, you have this bat, right? And so you're swinging your bat every day and you're seeing little dents and then you see bigger dents, but you're every day you are taking a little chunk out of what you're supposed to be doing. And whether that's behind the scenes work and you're doing your all of your publishing or like there's so much that goes into it. So it's just being diligent, present, and making sure that you are doing what you know to do, and then allowing the Lord to open the doors that He wants to open.
I see. Okay, got it. I mean, I do this for a living, so I have an idea of what it's like
Yeah,
trying to do something that you love and trying to make a living at it. So
right.
it's interesting, but I wasn't sure how that worked, because I've talked to people who have record labels,
Yeah.
and that part I understand because I've had that all explained to me. But I really never understood how someone like you can be independent and how that operates. So that's interesting. So you do all of your own production on your music, or does your husband
Uh,
do that since he's the sound tech guy?
no. I have producers and I have different people that I work with and different companies, but I don't have a main person that is basically calling the shots, if that makes sense. So if I had the record label, they'd basically be telling me how to run things,
Yeah,
whereas I get to be my own CEO and do a lot of the behind the scenes work that a label would do.
good for you. Okay. That sounds like you're pretty happy about that.
Yes. I am. Yeah, I love the freedom of it and I appreciate the freedom of it and I like to be able to dedicate the time that is necessary to what I do, but then have it also where I'm not feeling guilty about being at my kid's basketball game or, you know,
Yeah, being
all
present.
that jazz. Yeah,
Right.
being present. Yeah. Because what
100%.
is life without I'm gonna look back at my life one day and I'm gonna say, was I there for I mean, these are important things, being present with your kids and your family, like it's super important. And so I don't want to look back and then say, oh, mom was off chasing this. And is it even worth chasing? Is
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. In the overall scheme of things, when you look back, was it worth it?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the message that you're putting out there just in answering like normal questions and stuff. It's very family centric. You can tell that it's just an authentic way that you live your life and that you're trying to kind of go about your business, which I think is really impressive.
Thank you. Yeah,
Oh.
trying.
No, I love it. All right, so now the song came out, so you decide when it gets released, and so you just released this. I think you said on Valentine's Day or near it.
Yep. A week before Valentine's Day. So yeah, it's fresh out, fresh out.
Nice, and you do all your own marketing and stuff then too.
Yes. Yep.
All right, I'm just curious, as someone else who has to do all of his own marketing, what's the best way you have for marketing yourself? What works the best for you?
Well, social media is such an amazing tool, and you just with a song, you want to continually, almost obnoxiously promote it, and I hate that, but you know what I mean? Because you're really looking for new eyeballs as opposed to people who already follow you, and so the more that you talk about the song, the more it's gonna get out there organically. And so I really feel like social media is wonderful as a tool. I mean, I'm not a huge proponent of social media. Like, I don't like it, but I do it.
It's a necessary evil in a lot of our lives, I
It's
think.
a
So,
necessary evil, yes.
yeah, gotcha. Do you feel like you're called to do this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. Yeah, I feel 100% that I'm called. And uh since I was 8 years old, I received prophetic words that I was going to do this.
Wow. Tell me about that.
So
You drop stuff. You just
I
like,
know
oh, let
I'm
me
just
just drop
dropping
this over here.
stuff, and these I actually
You
haven't
know,
even I haven't even talked about this. So you're really good at bringing it out.
well,
I
thanks.
haven't even talked about this like previously. I mean, I've discussed it with my husband, but when I was 8 years old, I started taking guitar lessons, and I this guitar, I mean, I beat that guitar till it fell apart. Like the whole back of it was warping, and I wasn't any good. Like there was no reason at 8 years old for anyone to think that I was going to do anything, right? And my guitar player or my guitar teacher, Mr. Hutchins, he owned the store and he said, I really feel like the Lord is going to give her songs and that he's going to use her to do this and I'm going to gift her a brand new guitar because at
Oh,
the
get
time
out.
we didn't have tons of money and so like even doing the guitar lessons that was in the budget, right? And so, but a new guitar, because I had played it so hard, was not in the budget. And the guitar, I mean, it was super glued. Like the back of it was super glued
Oh,
because it was falling apart.
wow. Okay. You really
So
did play it to almost to
yeah,
death. Okay.
I
Wow.
when I say I beat it like it was falling apart, like I literally mean that it was falling apart. But he was so gracious to give that word and to gift me that guitar and I will never forget it. I've tried to look him up since then, but all I have is the last name, and so looking I'm like, okay, New Jersey Hutchins and I can't find him, but I'm like, Lord, it would be such a blessing to have him cross paths with me like sometime in my lifetime because I would love to express my gratitude.
That's so amazing. That's just that divine intervention, where people get
Yeah.
sent into your life for that reason. That's almost angel-like in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder about that too sometimes, because I'm like there's little pinpoints in the timeline of my life and I can look back and I'm like, man, I wonder if that was an angelic visitation.
Yeah. Especially since you can't find them.
Right. Yeah, no, I can't. I've looked. And Facebook
Wow.
it makes it so easy because you can look up where someone's from and basically usually if they're on, you can find a whole list of names in that area and I have not been able to find them.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So that's what you mean by prophetic, sort of intervention,
Yeah.
at 8. So he sees something in you at 8 years old, gives you that affirmation, puts that in you, like that. What did it do for you at that moment?
Well, it was very encouraging, and I I I feel like when I was younger, I couldn't appreciate it. You know what I mean? Because you're like, oh, okay, whoopity do, like as a kid. But then you can look back, like as an adult, and now that I do this, and this is like I write songs on my guitar, and I this is what I do. I can look back and I'm like, oh wow, Lord, like you were directing me all throughout my life, letting me know not to give up on this thing that you've given to me. Because you do sometimes want to, like, is this worth it? Is it worth it to keep going, to keep doing this? And then you can look back on those markers in your life and say, well, God says it is. God was very intentional in saying that this is what you need to keep doing.
Wow. Do you remember at what point in your life you picked it up and realized this is my thing that I need to follow?
Oh yeah. So after I led worship at that college and career night,
Hmm.
I started doing it more and more, and I was like, oh wow! Like I started writing songs and started doing those original songs for those evenings, and I remember them being very impactful. And I was like, I really want to do this. I didn't quite know how to do it though, because it's really like in everything when you're starting out, it's a learning curve, and you're like, how do I navigate this? And so I asked a lot of questions. And I think it's very important to be inquisitive. Like even now, I'm inquisitive. I'll be like, how does that happen? How do you work that? And just always constantly learning and getting better. We should never be stagnant or complacent, but always wanting to improve what God has given us.
Oh my goodness. That's so good. I love everything you just said right there. I mean, mic drop. Thanks for the interview. Have a good night. That's right where we should end it right there. That was perfect. This was one heck of a music festival that you went to. this meeting that you got dragged to that you didn't want to
Mhm.
go to that shed the light of God on you and led you
Yeah.
to devoting yourself, fully, and then also showed you your career path?
Well, that was later on. So the 16-year-old one was when I was away from the Lord, and
Uh-huh.
then this the following one where I started like leading worship, that was in my
Oh,
early 20s.
oh,
So
okay.
that was
All right.
like right after I got married and we had our college and career, and I was living for the Lord, and but we were newlyweds and my husband had no idea that I like played guitar. Like he knew that I had in the past, but I didn't we were newlyweds, like I didn't have money for a guitar, right? And I didn't even have one at the time.
You
So I
beat up
had
the
to
new
go
one?
and yeah, I have several now, thank God. But my father-in-law, I had to borrow his. Like my father-in-law is an amazing guitar player, and so I borrowed his for quite a while until we could go and get our own.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you for clearing that up because I was about to say one event
Right.
like that might almost be too much. That's,
Yeah. So
yeah,
16. So I was either 21 or 22 when I got up and started leading worship.
nice.
I want to say 22. Yeah. Because I was
Still,
just married, got married at 20, and so it was probably like 2 years into our marriage.
yeah, I mean, still very young, to put it out there. So, oh my gosh, that's just fantastic. Your stepfather plays, or not stepfather, father-in-law
Yeah,
plays.
he does. Yeah, he
Okay.
does. He writes songs too. And my family is not musical at all, like my immediate family. And so it's so interesting. And then I marry my husband, and he's not musical as far as like singing or playing an instrument. He's very good as far as like sound tech and all that stuff. But my father-in-law like writes his own songs and plays the guitar. And so I got to marry into that, which is so lovely.
Nice. Any duet possibilities coming up? You two taking the stage together or anything?
I've been trying to. So he's retired now, and we had a barn worship night. We had a revival night at our house. We have a barn right in the back of our property, and we've started doing these revival nights. And he came to one of them, and he said, I would love to play with you for your next one. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold you to that. So we're having one within the next few months here. So I'm hoping that we can help lead worship together for those.
Oh my gosh, so you are. I mean, I was
Yeah.
kidding with you, but you
Yeah,
really
yeah.
are.
That
Okay.
that's my intention. So I'm like, come
Wonderful.
on. Come on, come out of retirement. Let's do
Well, you're gonna
this.
have to play this podcast for him and say,
I
"Hey,
will.
hey,
Yeah,
buddy,
encourage
listen.
them.
All right, the word is
Yep.
out. All right, I already
Yep.
made the promise
Everybody,
on
the
an
jig is up.
international
Everybody
podcast.
knows.
That's right. People in multiple countries now know you're planning on doing
Yes.
this. We made the promise. I don't want to hear any excuses.
Right?
That's so great. And I mean, your dad may not have been musical, but he was a poet. So, I guess we
He
got to we
was.
got to give him credit for that.
Yep, absolutely.
Love that. Love that. All right. So, you've got a couple other things coming up you mentioned. Do you want to talk about the
Yeah.
songs on their way, or are those not ready enough to sort of preview and give a little
So
sneak peek?
they're not out yet. I've got about 11 songs on the docket that I'm wanting to do. So right now I'm really leaning into the Lord and saying which one first. So I've got a red dirt country worship song, and then I've got some CCM stuff, some traditional worship stuff, and then a folk
Wow.
song. So I've got like I said, being independent, you can kind of dip your toe in all the different sounds and all the things that I was raised in. And then I even have a song that's a rock song that I'm wanting to put out, which is totally different, but it's a Christian rock song. So hopefully that'll
Good for you.
be out soon. Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right, well, I'm kind of a red dirt road kind of guy, so
Yeah.
I'll be looking for that. That sounds
Okay.
fantastic. But regardless, I'm going to look you up as soon as soon as we're done and check out these songs. Normally, I would have done it ahead of time, but I guess I just didn't realize the depth of this conversation, the way it was going to go. So, one of the best parts about podcasting is you never know how the interview is going to go and what kind of
Right.
fantastic story you're going to get. But holy cow, I was not ready for this one with
I
you
wasn't either.
today, and this has been a lot of fun. Um,
And
okay, let me ask you this: we're all called upon to build discipleship, and help in that area.
yes.
To, I'm guessing that you use your music for some of that. Is that how you do it primarily? Or are there other ways in your life that you do that?
I would say mostly through the music. That's what catches people's attention. And that is something that is an open door to go and share the gospel. And so we've seen countless salvations at different events. And even when I don't know that like it's being impactful, there was an event that we did like 11 years ago, I want to say. And it wasn't the response that I was typically used to. I didn't know if I was getting through to anyone. I didn't know if anyone was even listening. Right. And then we get a call the next day from the pastor of the church, and we're still in really good contact with that particular pastor. Like we do stuff with him to this day based off of that event. But a whole family had given their lives to Christ that evening. And so hearing stories like that, where you don't know how the Lord is moving. And just because it's not a outward demonstration and it's not super vocal and it's you don't really see what's happening, it doesn't mean that God is not moving. And so hearing stories like that down the road and just different examples of people being touched and ministered to, like it's
Hmm.
everything.
Wow, that's powerful. That's incredibly
Glory to
powerful.
God.
Is um is that one of the reasons why you do what you do?
That's the only reason why. I know that that sounds, but like I mean, not the only reason. Like I believe music is so therapeutic in so many different ways. But if I'm going to an event and if I'm going somewhere and somebody is not being ministered to, and if somebody's not receiving salvation, if somebody's not rededicating their life to the Lord, then what am I actually doing? Like what is, because that's the whole point, right? The whole point of evangelism and the whole point of ministry is to see the lost come to the Lord, to see salvation. And so I really like I take it super seriously, and that's that's my life's mission. Like I want to see people receive Christ. I want to see people up in heaven. Like I want, when I get up there, I want there to be so many people that say, you told this person about the Lord, and then they told me, and then this person and this person. And so you never know the ripple effects of just going and ministering and discipling the one and how the one is going to multiply.
Yeah. Wow. So, opening people up to the possibility of the Lord is something
Yes.
that is a huge part of what you're doing.
Right. Absolutely.
Wonderful. It sounds like it's almost the purpose.
It is. It's the whole purpose.
Really impressive. Really impressive. I love what you're doing, and I love the way that you're doing it. And honestly, my favorite part of the whole thing so far was when you said that, you need to, your first ministry is at home,
Yeah.
and that's what you got to take care of first. So, how I've made it this far through this episode without actually crying, I don't know. I think I'm pretty proud of myself actually that I've made it this far without actually shedding a tear, because you're just choking me up at every single milestone here. Um, wow, love what you're doing. What's next, Bridget? Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm almost afraid to ask a question. What's next?
Well, I feel like the Lord knows what's next. I walk through the open doors that He provides, and so I have plans, but God has a funny way of going and and changing plans up. So I'll say, oh, I want to do this. Just like with when we're talking about the songs, like I have a good idea of what songs I want to go and release next, but He might have a totally different plan as far as like timing and orchestration and what we're going to be doing. So I plan ahead, but I realize that the plans are not always cemented because he's always coming and whispering in my ear and saying, "Hey, I think you should do this instead." And it's about yielding to Holy Spirit and saying, "Okay, like you know so much better than I do." He does. He always has a better way. He always has a better plan, and so I have to get out of the way sometimes.
That's great. That is great. Okay, tell everybody how they can find you, find your songs, reach you, contact you, talk to you more, so on and so forth.
Anywhere online, I'm on all of the social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, under Brigitte Donoho. And then my website's bridgettedonoho.com, and love to hear from you.
That's wonderful. All right. I want to make sure I got that out before I hit you with the last question. So, um, I'm going to give you the chance to kind of close any way you would like on this. I mean, you've mic dropped, I think, like 4 or 5 times already, where we could have just walked off the stage and that would have been it. But seriously speaking, this has been an absolutely wonderful talk. I've loved having you on. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of close up any way you want, any message that you want. If you want to, talk about another song coming out, if you want to deliver a word of prayer, anything you'd like to do is fine. I'll give you the chance to close, and I'll shut up for a minute.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you and being on with you tonight. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I would love to close with prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you, God, for just the opportunity to talk about you. It's such an honor and a privilege to know you, to live for you, and to make you known, God. And I ask, God, that you would just touch every single person under the sound of my voice, God, that you would uplift them, encourage them, God. And Lord, let them keep going. Let them keep fighting like a lion, God. And that you would just amplify their voices and that you would lead them, God, into what you have for them. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. Beautiful. I knew you would do that well too, on top of everything else. All right. Great ending. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Goodness gracious. Award-winning singer, songwriter, and recording artist, wife, mom, worship leader, lover of Jesus, and hey, Michigan resident, which we'll, go ahead and throw in there too, because, I live in Indiana, so we're kind of neighbors.
We are.
That's right. Bridget,
Go Wolverines.
you made it all the way to there.
I
And
did. I was gauging. I'm like, how's that response going to be?
oh, it's all good. It's all good. God's going to forgive you for that one. All right. So,
Well.
all right, go blue. I got you. All right. So, Brigitte Donoho, Bridget, you've been an absolute delight. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing everything you did. It's really been an amazing talk, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you. Folks, that's been another just remarkable episode of Wake Up the Lions. And you know what? It is time. It's time to wake up the lions. More than that, though, it's time for you to take your rightful place with your brothers and your sisters and let them hear you roar. Folks, the world is ready. You are ready. You just have to believe it.